And this morning we consider the recent wave of terror that has gripped Israel. In a span of weeks, Palestinian militants have attacked more than 100 Jewish men, women, and children. 10 of those who have been knifed have died. A 2-year-old toddler, a 13-year-old on a bike, a 70-year-old woman on a bus are among those who were wounded. This is terrorism at its core, when anyone who steps outside could be next. And these attacks, mainly stabbings, have been driven by a deliberately misleading message. Palestinian Authority officials and extremist clerics have falsely claimed that Israelis are trying to change the status quo by limiting Muslim access to the Temple Mount al-Aqsa Mosque compound that is holy to both faiths. The calls for killing have been amplified on social media as Arabic hashtags like the knife intifada, poison the knife before you stab, and slaughtering the Jews rapidly spread a message to attack those who are Jewish. Palestinian President Abbas regrettably has joined this hate speech. Israel is contending with a deep-seated hatred nurtured by Palestinian leaders over many years in mosques, in schools, in newspapers, and on television channels. Consider growing up in an environment in which television shows regularly glorify terrorists who have killed Israeli civilians, where you were taught that Jews are subhuman, or watching a small boy interviewed on television who speaks of wanting to be an engineer, in his words, so that I can build bombs to blow up all the Jews, or seeing the family next door receive a generous stipend for their son igniting his suicide vest. Perhaps most concerning, this culture of hate is being cultivated by Palestinian leaders. After being exposed day in and day out to these types of messages for most of their young lives, many of these young people will react. And once the Palestinian president declares, in his words, "We welcome every drop of blood spilled in Jerusalem," there are consequences to that. And it doesn't help when those in the media, or the Secretary of State for that matter, give this incitement a pass. Yes, there are many complexities in the Middle East, but there can be no moral equivalency when children as young as 2 are being stabbed. None. The U.S. should be speaking loudly and clearly. Palestinian officials must work to restore calm and renounce the incendiary statements, and its leadership must be confronted with the questions: how does this incitement serve the interests of Palestinian men, women, or children? How does this lay the groundwork for peace? The international community also has a responsibility. There is the international outcry for the generations of children which are growing up on blind hatred. There is an outcry, but that outcry is pretty muted compared to what I have seen in the international press. We need to amplify that voice. We need to build on some of the things that we've done here in the hearings in order to try to convince the Palestinian Authority to toss these textbooks and go with a lesson plan that teaches coexistence. Given that about 1/3 of the Palestinian Authority's budget is financed through foreign aid, international donors have leverage on this. They should be using that leverage. They could follow the lead of the U.S. Congress and make direct funding of the PA off limits until the incitement stops. This is a very tough time for Israel. It is my hope that President Abbas and others will seek to restore calm in the coming days, and incitement is challenged so reconciliation has a chance. And I now turn to the ranking member for any opening comments that Mr. Elliott Engel of New York might have.